I'm Linda Hiebert Sekiguchi, and we are in San Diego, California on July 5th, 1999. And we are having a Philippine gathering of people who taught or were administrators in the Philippines. And so different people may tell us some stories about their time when they lived in the Philippines. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, you're ready?
Right. Now?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm Luella Leibur. I taught at Wordsmith School the whole period as a teacher, first in the second grade, and then I became a counselor for the last 10 years. So I was in the old original Barnes, and then I was in the new Wordsmith School. I think one of the 3 or 4 most exciting experiences I had was opening day of school. My first day of opening school in the Philippines was a downpour. I think it was 13 inches of rain.
Whoa.
And the children, some of whom had never been in school, had to get on like 30 different buses, and the teachers had to get them on. And some of the high schoolers didn't get home until midnight, but the little ones did get home. Either the parents came and got them, or the teachers who were old timers and knew things. I was no help because I was new. And then we didn't have school the next day by base commander's orders. So that was my opening in the Philippines. And then when we had the prisoners of war, I was there and went down to the flag line and watched them get off the plane and be welcomed. And then they came to our school. We had autographs. I think I may still have an autograph picture of them at our school at Wordsmith. And then we had the baby lift. And we all volunteered, all the teachers. It says in the book that we have put in 3,000 hours. And I volunteered for that. And I was back in the storeroom where they came to get supplies for the babies if they needed clothing or whatever, because it was all donated by Clark residents. So I think those were the 3. Oh, and then the other thing was the Year of the Child, when as a counselor, I was designated the lead person in that project, which went on for a year. And we adopted a Negrito village of the Pygmies who lived not too far away from Clark. And we bought them, we decided to buy them tools for like wheelbarrows and spades and things which they didn't have. And then we visited them in their village, and that was my only chance to ever get to a Negrito village. So those were my most exciting, I think, experiences in the Philippines.
Am I on?
Yes, no.
Okay. I'm Ken Ray, and we went to the Philippines in 1967, and we were at Sandy Point 2 years, at Subic for 4, Midway, well, and then we came back to the Philippines for 4 more years at Grissom. And I think one of the funniest experiences that we had was when we had a poker club, and we changed off to different residences, and about 5 principals, I guess, played in this thing. And one time we went to Ron Warner's, and it was always customary for us to have dinner before we played poker. And so everybody dined away, and we were very impressed with the meal. And when we all got through, why, Ron said, "How did you like the meat?" And everybody said, "It was great." Well, you just had dog. Anyway, what else should we put on there? I think that's it.
Okay. Well, I'm on. Okay. I probably see the Philippines at a little different angle than my husband. I went through all the horrible happenings at school and all the good happenings at school. And then we had the home life. That was a little bit different. I'd never had a maid before. And I know we used to laugh in the Philippines because sometimes we girls would sit there and our whole conversation would be how horrible our house girl was. Like the time I went out in the kitchen and this gal was throwing a spaghetti up at the ceiling, but stuff the spaghetti was done. I said, well, we don't do it that way. And the same day, the houseboy had drug the holes into the house and was spraying the screens from the inside. Over the carpeting, you know, standing here. Everything, I finally got them straightened out. And I can remember the first time that I got acquainted with the seamstresses. And we had just arrived in Sangley, and they're going to have a party. And, well, who was it? It wasn't Admiral, it was Captain Cecil, no, it wasn't Cecil. Well, one of the Kaufman, I guess it was, had invited us to go. And she says, well, you'll have to have your dress made. I thought, for heaven's sakes, I brought clothes, why do I need something new? But I had to go to the dressmaker and pick out some material, and I had a long one, and oh boy, I was really dressed up when I went. I felt like an idiot, but I found out that everybody had their dresses made. You couldn't buy them ready-made, and there are a lot of experiences like that in the Philippines. I guess that's all.
Not a teacher, but married to a teacher, so I was very much involved with the schools. We went to the Philippines in 1967, and we were there until 1975.
1985.
I operated the reconstituted milk plant on Clark Air Base, where all of the milk and ice cream and dairy products came from. All four of our children were educated in Clark schools, graduating from Wagner High School. We enjoyed it very much there. We traveled extensively, our own family, our own car. We drove all over the Philippines, all over Luzon, and later on even down to Mindoro when our son Bruce was in the Peace Corps down there. And had many interesting experiences. Of course, we were, since virtually all of my employees, up to 75 were Filipinos, I became very well acquainted with their work habits, besides the ones we had at home, which Connor could tell you about. And there's a few little stories that I tell. One of them is when we'd have a problem with the car, we'd take it into one of the shops, and the mechanic would tell me all the parts I needed to correct it. And I say, well, can you get those parts? And they say, no, sir. I said, well, what are you going to do? They say, well, we'll make a remedy. And they always did. They could always make a remedy. So, what else should I tell them?
Like you over there. Keep those little cars running.
I guess that's about it. Donna can fill you in on the school part. Okay, I guess I've been talked into continuing with a few more stories. One that I remember happened to my assistant, who just brought a new Volkswagen out from the States and went up in the mountains. He was going up to Banawi, see the rice terraces. He ran over a large rock and poked a hole in his transmission. Well, he's way up in the mountains where there wasn't much he could do, and then a vegetable truck came along with several people on it. He talked them into using their planks and putting his car onto the back of the vegetable truck and hauled it down to Baguio, where they had a Volkswagen shop. They fixed the transmission all right, but when he got ready to leave, he found out the mechanics had tore his computerized fuel system apart because they'd never seen one and wanted to see what it was like. And of course, they couldn't get it back together. So he ended up having to have his car towed all the way back to Clark, where they brought a technician from Manila and got it fixed. I guess my stories are about the mechanics in the Philippines and
Okay, I'm ready.
we had a Chevrolet Suburban, and he was gone to Manila to some sort of program, and went down to Makati to have ice cream. And we had a hotel there in Manila, kind of out on the suburbs, and it was during curfew time. It was 1 o'clock in Manila. We got out, and those particular Chevys had a habit of getting stuck in one gear. Well, it was stuck in second gear. Anytime I was ever in Manila at night, I always got lost. Couldn't find our way back, driving in second gear all the time. Finally, we found our way to the hotel just before 1 o'clock. The next morning, I asked the desk clerk if he could get me a mechanic. He says, well, it's kind of hard on Sunday. So he called and he got his mechanic to come, and the mechanic came with an assistant to carry his tools, which consisted of a vice grip and a screwdriver. But this was something that was common in this particular car, and he used his screwdriver and got the forks back in place. So it worked, and I guess that was all that he actually needed. I don't know. Is that enough? Okay.
Okay.
Again, I'm Linda Hiebert Sekiguchi, and I taught at Clark Air Base in the Philippines from 1971 to 1976. We just had a party here in San Diego for people who had taught in the Philippines. We had several people talk on videotape about some of their experiences in the Philippines, and then things got a little hectic and people weren't as willing to appear on videotape, etc. But the people who were here at the party here in my hotel room were the Rays, who both spoke on the videotape, Luella Leibur, who spoke, also the Donna and Keith Young, the Frank and Joyce Mahovich, let's see, Charlotte Miles, Joni Hampton Paso, let's see, Pat Mathias, Ann Drake, Kathy Weir, and Bruce Taft came. Pat wasn't able to come because she fell and kind of hurt herself when they went down to Tijuana. So I believe that's the whole group who came to the party, and we had some lumpia, some Filipino goodies, some cassava, some, let's see, puto, some rice cakes, and some Filipino candies, and then a bunch of other snacks and so on. So we had a good time. We should have had the videotape running when Frank Mahovich was talking, because he was telling all kinds of tales about the Philippines. We should have just not asked him, but just ran it so that we could have gotten a bunch of his stories. But at any rate, we did have a good time all together, and people thought it was a good idea to get together. So we hope that people who see this have a good laugh or two, or
can associate with some experiences that people were